G'day everyone, it's Heath and Simon from You&Me Personalised Property Services. Beautiful springtime. I can smell the pollen in the air. The birds are chirping and welcome to Perth.
And so's Heath.
I'm always chirping. So what we wanted today to talk about today was decoding agents' tactics. And what we mean by that is you go to a home open, there's an end date sale. There is a from 499 or 599. I don't think there's any 499s at the moment in Perth, but you know, from a price. And what does it actually mean? And how do we get around that barrier? So I'll chuck it over to Simon and talk about the difference between end date sale, you know, contact agent, express sale. What does it all mean, and how, and what are your thoughts on it?
Well, I think first and foremost, it's split up into a couple of different ways, because you're decoding agent tactics. Now, if you're a local here in Western Australia, you'll be more familiar with the way agents put properties up for market. But if you're interstate, it's almost like you're trying to buy real estate in a different country, because the way properties are marketed here and sold here is totally different from over east. So let's address the local aspect first, decoding the agent tactics. The biggest tactic right now, which you probably would have seen on the news, you know, 2-3 weeks ago, is agents starting to get in trouble for, I guess, underquoting. And by that, it means they believe the property is probably worth 600,000, but they're putting it in offers over 500,000. And what they're doing is, obviously, by putting it in offers over 500,000, they're bringing in a lot more buyers into the market. Now, the reality is 80 to 90% of those buyers that are coming to that open home, they can't afford the actual 600,000. But the 10% that can afford the real market value are then put off because they're seeing 30 other people. And they think, oh my God, there's 30 other people here. So something that should be selling market value around 600,000 ends up going for 650. In some cases, they're even selling for more than 150,000 than the advertised price.
Absolutely, and I actually spoke to a client literally today. His name was Sean. He said, oh, you know, what happens if I, you know, have 500,000? I said, mate, the reality is if you're seeing on realestate.com.au from 499, you're not buying that at 500. You know, and I spoke about Mandurah actually as the region. I said, them properties are selling at 570, 580. And that's the reality. He goes, oh, wow, more than $50,000 over. I said, mate, I've seen $150,000 over. So,
it's incredible.
But what it does do, and that what they're there for is they do get in trouble, but what they're there for is to act on the seller's best interest.
Well, the crazy thing is because the market's moved so hard, even if an agent was to sit down, for instance, someone reports out, the agent's going to sit down and say, well, look, the market has grown 20%. The market is continuing to grow. The rents are continuing to grow. I don't know what someone is prepared to pay for a property. So if you look at the listing form, they're probably listing it around that 500. But what they're doing in the homes is they're having the conversation with the homeowners. Hey, look, I actually believe this thing's going to go for around 600, but I want to list it at 500 so we can advertise it offers over 500. It keeps us out of trouble if anyone comes back to look, and it's going to give you the best chance at getting the best price. And when we come back to decoding agent tactics, it's very simple. Agent tactics is to get as many people into the property in the quickest possible time. That's why very few agents are allowing people to do private inspections now. They want 80 people coming to that open home so that they can just play on the fear of missing out.
Okay, so based on that, how do you get a private inspection?
Yeah,
well, and it's networking, right? It's relationships.
It's relationships. Now, we all know that I've been in real estate since the early 1800s. Heath, you've been in it for quite some time too. We had the
colonial era, right?
The colonial era. We have the largest local network in Perth. We've got one of the largest local networks across the country, but specifically here in Perth. And we come across so many more opportunities than what is just on the open market. And then the other thing is we can decode through all the crap. So we can go to an open home that is flooded by 80 people and just know where the value sits. So one of the things that we do, I guess, that I pride ourselves in, that we do really well is just being direct with the client, telling him exactly where we see value, drawing a line in the sand and understanding that, look, no good is going to come from a property if you are buying a property and there's 30 offers in it. You're going to get yourself into trouble and you're going to pay more than you have to. When you're getting an off-market opportunity, you're not in that position. Then the question I always get is, well, why do you get off-market opportunities? 28 years in real estate, 17 years in real estate. Yeah. Largest local network in Perth. It's all to do with conditions. You can come across people that are in a bad health state, elderly people that don't want fuss.
We had someone that didn't like germs.
Didn't like germs, you know, so there's all sorts of conditions.
Tenanted properties.
You know, tenanted properties.
Tenants don't have to keep, I'm not saying they do or don't, but they don't have to keep your property in a showroom condition to sell your property.
Or
So
tenants,
you get a lot of that.
I mean, tenants don't like strangers coming through their homes, so they can be
There is that
difficult
too.
with open homes.
Yep.
There's all sorts of things that come into it. But if you are only looking at open market opportunities and you're trying to invest in Perth,
hot market.
you have to decode all the agent tactics. And
Yep.
those tactics are to make you pay the absolute premium. Those tactics are to fill you full of fear that if you're not coming up to your very top price, that you're going to miss out on the property. And then that puts people in two positions. It's like, do I trust the agent? Do I doubt the agent? The simple answer to that is no. You don't trust the agent, and yes, you do doubt the agent, because they are there to represent the seller, and that's exactly why you need to have a buyer's agent represent you. If you think about it logically, there is nothing in this world where we're talking about spending $500,000, $1 million, $3 million, $10 million, where you seek representation from the other party.
Yeah.
You get your own representation, and now more than ever, getting a buyer's agent here in Perth is the most important thing. But then having said that, buyer's agents now are the flavour of the month. So you've got all these people just jumping into buyer's agents. They're ex-footy stars, or they've never even done real estate. It's an ex-lawyer, it's an ex-accountant. They have no idea.
I've seen people in the game for literally a year, and they're trying to give advice on $1 million property. I'm like, what are you doing? What are people thinking?
They've got no idea. But then again, because it's relatively new, as the buyer, you're inexperienced too, so you don't know where to turn to. So look, if you want people that give you representation, that live in a black and white world, aren't here to tell you what you want to hear, tell you what you need to hear, and have the experience, and most importantly, the results, reach out to us. Decoding agent tactics is one of the things we go through, but reach out to us and look through all the other stuff that we address when we take on clients. And always, guys, until next time, happy investing.